This looks fancy, but it's actually just a few ingredients and a couple of tricks. Today we're gonna make creme brulee. The most complicated part about it is you have to bake it in a water bath. That's what this is. Super excited. This is one of my favorite desserts that there is. It's super good and super easy to make. And it sounds really fancy, even though it's really not. You need two special things. You need a water bath. You also need a torch of some sort. So the ingredients are really simple. It's gonna be 3 cups of heavy cream, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 8 large egg yolks, half a cup of granulated sugar, half a teaspoon of salt. The first thing we wanna do is preheat our oven to 300 degrees. Next, we have to heat up the heavy cream to a simmering level. 3 cups of heavy cream. 2, 3 cups of heavy cream. You're gonna wanna add some vanilla extract. I only have the cheap stuff. Ideally, you would wanna use something like vanilla bean paste or something like that. I promise it'll still be good. Oops, that was a bit much. All right, we're gonna put that on the stove, start it heating. All right, the next thing is you need egg yolks and sugar. Put them in a bowl. 8 egg yolks. We've got to separate the eggs into egg yolks and egg whites. The egg whites we're not going to use for this recipe. We'll probably use them for something else. We need half a cup of granulated sugar. Can't find my half a cup, so I'm using the 1/4 cup. Now you just want to whisk that together. You want it to be completely mixed, but you don't want it to be airy because that airiness will make bubbles in your creme brulee, which I'll show you how to get rid of them because there's going to be some bubbles no matter what you do. Once your egg yolks and sugar are all mixed together, you're going to want to take the heated heavy cream mixture and pour about between 1/4 and 1/2 of it into your egg yolk mixture. What that's going to do is temper the eggs. You want to do that while stirring. Now we're getting a lot of air bubbles, which is something that you don't really want, but as I said before, I'll show you how to get rid of them. And you're just gonna pour the rest of it in. Now your eggs should be completely tempered. Next, we're gonna pour this mixture into our ramekins. Try to make them all even. I'm gonna pour it through this, and that's gonna get rid of a little bit more of the foam. And then I'll show you how to get rid of the rest. There should only be a few air bubbles after that. The last step to get all the rest of the air bubbles out is to use a torch. You just run it over the top and it pops all the bubbles. Now they are basically ready to go in the oven. The only other thing to do is put hot water in our water bath. I'll do a separate video showcasing this water bath. Now that that's done, into the oven it goes. Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes. Don't do that. All right, now these go directly into the refrigerator to cool. Preferably overnight, but I'm actually only gonna cool them for about 4 hours. All right, these have had enough time to cool. It's time to put the caramelized sugar on top. The best way I've found to do this is to put about 3/4 of a teaspoon of sugar in 5 of them, and then just kind of knock it around the top until you've got a nice even layer, and then what's left over in each one you dump in the last one. That ends up being about another 3/4 of a teaspoon of sugar. All right, then you just take and you knock the sugar around all the way to the edge, all the way around each one. And then there's usually just a little bit left over, and you dump that in the last one. Now I'm gonna wipe around the edge of each one of these because I really don't want caramelized sugar burnt onto my ramekin. So I'm gonna make sure it's all off of the ramekin. All right, now that we've got our edges cleaned up, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to torch the tops and make them look really nice. It's not really as difficult as you might think. You've got to get a feel for it. Now that the sugar is caramelized, they're ready to eat.